Johnson heads to the pocket. Layup. Johnson, good.
All right, welcome everybody, and it's another edition of Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers, and right here on Pelican Sports TV, which is seen all over Cox Cable and, of course, on the YouTube channel, and you can also get it on the Pelican Sports app, seen 5 times a week on Tuesdays at 11 a.m., Thursdays at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., Fridays at 9 p.m., and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Seen at almost 2 million households all across South Louisiana, including 89% of the metro New Orleans area still has Cox, about 340 to 50,000 people have it here in Baton Rouge, and in Lafayette, 140,000 people. Also seen in Morgan City and parts of Livingston Parish. Got lots to talk about. LSU obviously going backwards. The Saints going forward. How far can they go? I guess that's what I wanted to say. And then also we're talking Southern University football. But first we start with tragic news out of Southern University. Longtime NBA great and former Southern University great Bob Love has died. Died last night, which will be Monday. He died at the age of 81 for the long battle with cancer. He played from 1961 to 65 and led for the longest times the all-time leading scorer for Southern University. Unbelievable. He had 2,458 points, averaged 23.7 a ball game, and finished with 1,483 rebounds. His banner is up at the F.G. Clark Activity Center and up at the United Center in Chicago. Number 10 will be there always, and they'll, of course, honor him, no question about that. So just sad to see that. He was from Bastrop, Louisiana. Bob Love has died at the age of 81. Our thoughts and prayers go to his family and all of the Southern University family. Southern University football wins their 9th Southwestern Athletic Conference Western Division in team history. Congratulations. That's their second in 3 years, too. So, and for the second time in 3 years, going to play Jackson State, and it's going to be at Jackson again. Ugh. That's December the 7th. The game will be at 1 p.m. on ESPN2. I'll be doing the play-by-play for that deal. Now, Southern has an opportunity to get great exposure. So for the next 4 games, they have a possibility of being on national TV. All right? The next game, which is next week for the Bayou Classic, the 51st annual Bayou Classic of the Caesars Superdome, will be on NBC. The SWAC Western Divisional Champion meets the Eastern Divisional Champion in Jackson. That's the SWAC Championship game in Jackson, Mississippi, on December the 7th, will be on ESPN2. Then if Southern wins that game, they're going to play in the Celebration Bowl in the exact next week, December the 14th, and that game will be on ABC. When Southern opens up the season next year for the SWAC MEAC Challenge, that game is going to be on ABC. That's 4 games in a row. It's going to be on national television. Great exposure for Southern University, so that's going to be big. That's going to be great. The problem with Southern University, again, is they cannot start faster. They got to start faster. That was their boogaboo against the Jackson State Tigers. This year, Southern has scored 9 points in the first quarter all year. 9 points. No touchdowns. That's 3 field goals. That ain't going to get it done against Jackson State. Jackson State's been struggling a little bit lately. They're going to play Alcorn this week for their last game, and then they're going to have 2 weeks off before they get ready for the SWAC championship game. And with that play in Alcorn State, they're going to have a lot of players suspended because of the fact of the big brawl that happened between Alabama State and Jackson State this past weekend. So with that being said, even if Jackson State loses that game, because they beat Southern in the head-to-head, the game would be at Jackson, Mississippi. So we're going to Jackson no matter what. And again, it's a 1 o'clock game on ESPN2. But Southern has to start faster. That was their thing that got them in the first game against Jackson State at Jackson State. That's what happened to them. They had problems starting off early. Jackson State took a big-time lead. Southern never could even get close to get back in the game. It happened also 2 years ago when they played. Deion Sanders was last game at Jackson State when he went to Colorado after that. So Southern's going to have to start earlier if they want to win this game. Quarterback Jalen Woods looked good, again, okay, in the second straight game, and that's good. The only thing I saw that Jalen Woods did, and I'm sure the film, when the coaches watch it, the game film is going to be tailing of what they did. Game film don't lie. But one of the things I noticed that he did, two things that he did. One, and I said it on the radio when we were going. I said they had 12 seconds left on the clock before halftime, and Coach Pete told me right next to me, he said, well, we need to kick a field goal. And I said, no, we can run one or maybe even two plays, but it's got to be in the end zone. That very next play, Jalen Wood hits a crossing receiver, and time is off the clock because they don't have no timeouts left. And that's it. That's the end of the half. And they were driving, too. They were driving. They were getting close. They were in field goal range, but they just couldn't get it done. That's good. And he's going to get that. He's going to get that. That's just mistake he made. He threw an interception. He's going to get all that. That was a freshman mistake. He's a redshirt freshman from Georgia. He's going to get that. And then they got the week off before the Bayou Classic. No games this weekend for Southern. That's an annual thing that they do, getting ready for the big Bayou Classic. Understand, for Bayou Classic, they have tickets available in the upper deck. That's it. All the tickets down to the bowl level are sold out. That's good. I mean, you might find one or two there, here or there, but most of all the tickets in the dome are looking good on the bottom level. Top level, there's still some tickets available in the 600 level. So that's going to be good. Again, Southern University, big-time win. Western Divisional champions. That is their 9th one. They're 3-5 in championship games. It's amazing. They got off to a good start. They got off to a 2-0 start in championship plays, and they lost to Alabama State 2-1. They beat Jackson State in 2013, which, by the way, was their last championship, last SWAC champion, and they didn't have the Celebration Bowl then. So they won that game in overtime, and then the very next year they played Alcorn State, and then after that we started losing. We lost to Alcorn State a couple times, and then, of course, we lost to Jackson State. So, this the most. We've played Jackson State more than any other team in the championship game, so that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Again, that'll be on December the 7th on a Saturday. Bayou Classic, though, a week before that. That's going to be a lot of fun for Southern, taking on the Grambling State Tigers. And Jonathan, I don't know what you heard for the Coach Terrence Graves show, but this team, like I said, kind of peaking at the right time. They look pretty good. Willie Miles, defensive tackle, gets a touchdown in his final game at A.W. Mumford Stadium. Not much defensive tackles get to score a touchdown, but not only did he take it, he had a 300-pound guy, offensive lineman, pulling him down. He didn't stop. He went right into the end zone. He went right into the end zone for the touchdown. And, Jonathan, that was a big-time win for Southern.
Yes, certainly happy for Coach Terrence Graves. This team was picked to finish 4th in the SWAC West. Of course, now I take home the SWAC championship. Happy for Coach, now Athletic Director Roman Banks, who's had a rough stretch with some football coaches here of late, but seems to have found his guy in Terrence Graves, who truly is a great man, great to talk to off the set. He has, stories and all kinds of stuff to help you grow as a person, not only a football player. So happy for Coach. You mentioned Willie Miles gets that touchdown. Very athletic for the big man. The coach talked about him yesterday. Played at Scotlandville out here in Baton Rouge in high school. Was a guy, according to his stature, shouldn't be playing Division I football, but in the right place at the right time, involved in 2 loose balls this past weekend and once for a score, 7-yard return. So, yeah, very happy. It made me really happy to see how excited that Jaguar sideline was for Willie Miles. It tells you it's a tight group, and it tells you that Willie Miles is really a great kid. So happy for him, happy for Coach Terrence Graves, and happy for Southern University.
No question about that. So, again, congratulations, Southern 6-1 in conference play, and again, like we mentioned, 2 more conference games, because that does count as a conference game when they play in the championship game. So that ought to be a lot of fun. Speaking of that, we're going to talk about another championship game coming up here and later on in the show. Also, the Saints beat the Cleveland Browns 2 in a row. We'll talk about that coming up next. And LSU. A lot of talk show hosts say that LSU does not have good recruiting and does not have a good roster. We'll investigate that when we come back. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouget today.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. Proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars. Make a fun run in Livingston Parish now with all kinds of events for the whole family. The Livingston Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau invites you to a girls' night out on November 8th in Denham Springs. Get your tickets now and don't miss out. On Sunday, November 10th is the City of Walker Veterans Day Parade at 10 a.m. The lighting of the old City Hall in Denham Springs on November 29th. Christmas open house on November 30th. And Christmas in Denham Springs from November 29th to December 21st through historic downtown Denham Springs. Enjoy the sounds of Swamp Pop at Grand Country Junction on November 16th. And on December 21st, it's the Merry Christmas from the Grand Junction in Livingston, Louisiana. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. and shows start at 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale for $15 for adults, $10 for kids 4 through 12, and children under 3 are free. For more information, visit LivingstonTourism.com. That's LivingstonTourism.com. Livingston Parish. Make a fun run.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Jonathan and Marty here in-house today as we are talking sports with me, Chris Powers, and getting ready for Thanksgiving next week, man, already. I was just telling Marty, this season just flies by. Football it just flies by already. When I played sports in the fall, I always knew it went by fast. You have fairs and festivals and all that. But my goodness, man, it just seems like it's getting faster and faster. The older you get, it's getting faster and faster, and that's pretty crazy that we're already done. I just thought we just started season or the first game of the year, and all of a sudden we're down to the final 2 games of the season. It's crazy. The Saints beat the Cleveland Browns in a complete game on offense. The Saints win again. 58 plays for the Saints, 473 yards. Taysom Hill went nuts. 18 yards passing, 138 yards rushing, 50 yards receiving, and 42 yards in kickoff returns for 248 total yards with 3 touchdowns. Absolutely unbelievable. Taysom Hill is incredible. Jonathan Hill is 34 years old. He becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2026 at 36 years old and could void his last year of his contract in 27 at 37 years old. I mean, is this guy ever going to get old and not be able to run?
No, and Chris, I want to preface this by saying that all weekend I was busy in Thibodaux with a baseball tournament, which we did end up winning. Champions, New Orleans Jesters, way to go. But did see some highlights of the Saints game. Taysom Hill, 3 touchdowns. Helps the offense tremendously. I tell you, he's really the Energizer Bunny, that the engine that gets the car going. He is the emotional leader of that football team. Everybody loves him. Taysom Hill lowers his shoulders and trucks people. So it gets the team going. It gets the fans going. And look, 2 in a row for the Saints. Now have 4 wins on the season. Just further proof that Dennis Allen completely lost that locker room. Guys are certainly fighting harder for Darren Rizzi on all sides of the ball. You mentioned the full game, the complete game on offense. Able to run the football creatively with Alvin Kamara, but really the exclamation point, Taysom Hill can't be stopped. Still doing it, like you said, 9 years into the Saints' career.
Yeah, unbelievable. So the Saints have another year with him, 2024, then 2025, no problem. In 2026, though, at the end of 25 season, they're going to have to make a decision. Will they re-sign him? He's an unrestricted free agent in 2026. He'll be 36 years old. Right now, he's looking like he's not slowing down. And right now, I wouldn't let him go. Him and Kamara are very big problems for defensive coordinators the night before they play the Saints. They always want to know where those two are lined up. Now you've got not just one, but you've got 2 of them. And that makes the Saints big. If they can get going on offense and get everything straight, they could be a great offensive power. We saw that in the first 2 weeks. So I don't know. I would never let Taysom Hill go, ever. But at the same time, when is enough when he's going to say, I don't want to play? Luckily, we have 2 more years to even worry about that, so that's good news there. Defense is still giving up chunk plays. Too many chunk plays. Of course, obviously it was a big chunk play for 70-plus yards for a touchdown for Cleveland in their first one. That was crazy. So they're going to have to, again, get the better on that. But, I mean, this season's done, folks. They're not going to do well. Look, Rams are next Sunday at 3:05. I got them probably losing that game. So let's say they go at that point, they would be 4. Right now they're 4 and what is it, Jonathan?
7, 4 and 7.
4 and 7. So the Rams game, that would make it 4 and 8. They'll beat the Giants, go 5 and 8. Washington, now Jaden Daniels, they'll go 5 and 9. At Green Bay, Monday Night Football, 5 and 10. They'll beat the Raiders, and then they're at Tampa Bay.
Yep.
So maybe 6 and 11 they could finish, or they could go 2 and 4 in their final few games. Maybe 3 and 3, maybe. But I got them going maybe 6 and 11 for the rest. I mean, they're playing better with Rizzi. There's no doubt about that. Derek Carr looked good. He had 6 incompleted passes. Kamara had 67 yards, as we mentioned. So this Saints season is pretty much gone. We'll see who's going to be the new head coach for the Saints. The general manager, Mickey Loomis, seems to think that this team is pretty much there, that they just need the right coach and guiding this team to the playoffs. He thinks that they have an opportunity to be a good football team. So we don't know. I mean, how much longer will Mickey Loomis stay in New Orleans? He's already talked about retirement and what have you. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But once again, I think the Saints definitely will probably finish 6 and 11, probably ahead of Carolina. But Jonathan, just like the Saints, are going to mess up the draft to where they'll be not a top 4 or 5 draft.
Yeah, I know they had a really opportunity to tank the rest of this season and just go in with a 2-15 record, get that first or second overall pick. Looking like that would have been good enough for the first pick, but Darren Rizzi comes in. Happy for Darren Rizzi, longtime NFL guy. Players truly love this man. He's a leader of men. He tells great. He's got a good voice, a good coach's voice. Doesn't look the stature, but a guy who knows how to win. Worked his way up for Division II, all the way up to now the head job at the New Orleans Saints. So happy he's getting his chance. He's really making the most of it. His team is fighting hard. But, yeah, I don't think he'll be the guy moving forward. If it was up to me, I would like the Saints to go make a splash higher. Yeah, I agree with you. They'll probably wind up somewhere around 6 and 11. At the best, they'll have 8 wins this season. So underperformed again for the organization. You asked me my opinion about Mickey Loomis. He's never getting fired. Maybe this offseason they mutually part ways, as they go to say, or he'll retire. But Mickey Loomis isn't getting fired. Him and Gail Benson, way too close. Miss Gail Benson, such a sweet lady. And they did pull the trigger on Dennis Allen. She has fired multiple NBA coaches for the Pelicans, but I do not see it happening that Mickey gets fired. It's going to have to be a mutually parting of ways.
Yeah, no question about that. And, again, to retire and do whatever he wants to do. But, Mickey Loomis, kind of questionable, his record without Sean Payton and Drew Brees, kind of mediocre. So, I don't know. Like I said, it'd be interesting to see. All right, LSU lost again, 3 in a row. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Vandy game. And is the roster bad, or do they do recruiting well? How about the transfer portal? We'll take a look at all that coming up as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadia and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars. Make a fun run in Livingston Parish now with all kinds of events for the whole family. The Livingston Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau invites you to a girls' night out on November 8th in Denham Springs. Get your tickets now and don't miss out. On Sunday, November 10th is the City of Walker Veterans Day Parade at 10 a.m. The lighting of the old City Hall in Denham Springs on November 29th. Christmas open house on November 30th and Christmas in Denham Springs from November 29th to December 21st through historic downtown Denham Springs. Enjoy the sounds of Swamp Pop at Grand Country Junction on November 16th. And on December 21st, it's the Merry Christmas from the Grand Junction in Livingston, Louisiana. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. and shows start at 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale for $15 for adults, $10 for kids 4 through 12, and children under 3 are free. For more information, visit LivingstonTourism.com. That's LivingstonTourism.com. Livingston Parish, make a fun run.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouget today.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers. Jonathan's here, Marty's here. We're out having a party out here, getting ready for Thanksgiving. But, all right, let's go. Oh, by the way, Marty, next week, Jonathan's going to give us a turducken right here. He's got, since he lives in that New Orleans area, a turducken right here for the Thanksgiving treats. Yeah, that's the kind of guy he is. All right, LSU loses their third game in a row. Wow. This is crazy. You know, they haven't lost 4 games in a row since 1999. That's 25 years ago. 25 years ago, Jerry DiNardo's last season. That's crazy. Lots of hosts have been talking about their roster and their recruiting. They're still going crazy all this week, going nuts. I mean, I've never seen so many of them get so upset. They're upset. Like Kelly, with them losing, Kelly is costing them money. I've never seen anything like that in my life, and they're blaming it all on Kelly. There's no doubt right now that this team has lost their way to win, and sometimes it happens. There's always slumps with players, and there's always slumps with teams, and it spreads around the locker room like you wouldn't believe, like cancer. It's just that crazy. And right now, LSU is like, oh, my God, we're going to lose again. That's what they're doing. Three weeks in a row they have lost. So let's talk about recruiting. Are they not good? Since Brian Kelly's been there, is he not a good recruiter? At Notre Dame, he finished no more than higher than 20. Usually he finished in the top 10. Sometimes he finished top 15. But let's face it, it's a different breed of athlete going to Notre Dame. You got to have a certain GPA, and you got to keep that GPA. Okay? So now he comes to LSU. How is he doing? His first year, because it wasn't really his recruiting class, because this was Coach O's class, and they were still coming in, LSU finished number 12. In 2023, they finished number 6. In 2024, last year, they finished number 7. And right now, they have the 6th best recruiting class so far. So, not be able to recruit, that's out. That's not true. What about the transfer portal? Brian Kelly already told you he wants to go via high school kids to build his foundation. He's not the only one who's done that. So when you're building from the transfer portal, it's a quick fix, and it's a Band-Aid over an open wound sore. So far, it hadn't worked. Will it work with Oregon and Ole Miss? Maybe we'll find out this year. But you notice Oregon's number 1. They're undefeated. Right now, they look like the best team. They're still shaky, though. I don't think there's any dominant team in college football right now, but we'll talk about that coming up at the end. But also, for Ole Miss, they lost 2 games. But they're still in line in the top 10 to make the playoffs. And it looks like they may still make the playoffs. So with that, let's talk about the transfer portal. Now, Lane Kiffin used the transfer portal like crazy. That's where he got all of his team. You can't do that every year. That's what you're going to do if you go to the transfer portal. Sometimes you get players that are juniors or seniors, and they left because they weren't playing in another school. But let's take a look at this. In the transfer portal in 2022, LSU and Brian Kelly was number 3. You had to. You had to fill in because you only had 39 scholarships, and you got there. 39. And somebody was saying this week on their radio show, it wasn't 39, it wasn't 30, it was 39. That's from LSU. It was 39 recruits. 39 players that were left on the roster when Brian Kelly got here. Okay? So number 3 in 2022 in the transfer portal, number 4 in 2023 in the transfer portal, and number 43 in 2024, which means, again, he was starting to go away from that and letting high school kids come in and build his football team, build longevity, and build depth. So is he the only one that does that, though? No. The Georgia Bulldogs does the same thing. They were 178 in 2022, 56 in 23. Number 14 in 2024. Kirby Smart feels the same way. Where did they get that from? Nick Saban. Nick Saban thought the same way. Alabama needed to fill in some holes in 2022. They were number 5 in recruiting in transfers, 53 in 2023 and number 3 last year. So you can see that those coaches like that want to go and build longevity. Building from the transfer portal is a quick fix. You're not going to build longevity. 1 year you'll be up, next year you'll be down. That's it. Brian Kelly is building it on up and up and up. And it's his 3rd year. And everybody's going nuts about his 3rd year. Again, I hate to compare apples and apples because that's what we're doing here. Nick Saban was 8-5 in his 3rd year. It takes time. I hate to sound like a broken record. It takes time. So let's look at their roster. These talk show hosts are saying their roster is horrible. Well, let's see if there is. Garrett Nussmeier right now has more touchdowns throwing than Burrow. Nussmeier has 22. I'm talking about his first year. And we still got, 3 games to go. 2 regular season games and a bowl game. Burrow had 16 in his first year at LSU. Jayden Daniels had 17. Now, Jayden Daniels also added in 11 rushing touchdowns. The problem I've got with Nussmeier is there's 2 problems I've got really a lot with him. One, he is having trouble in the red zone. Now, to me, if I'm coach and if I'm Nussmeier, I work my behind off in red zone practice. You've got some good receivers, including Green at 6'7". I'd use him like a Jimmy Graham, like Drew Brees used Jimmy Graham in touchdowns in the red zone. He's 6'7", man. I have him go up like that. Now, quarterbacks have good vertical leaps. Red zones are tough. It takes a while for a quarterback to get adapted to a red zone because there's 22 players in a small space. And your offensive linemen are all over the place, and they're big over you, and you can't see, and this and that. You got players flying around everywhere. It looks like I said, flies on a Sunday barbecue. So red zones are tough. I also don't like, though, his decision-making. Instead of going for first downs, he wants to go for the bombs. He's got to get that out of his head. You've got to get out of that at your head. Now, he's turning the ball over also way too much. Way too much. Drew Brees used to do that. Drew Brees won a few games with a lot of turnovers, and that irritated me like crazy. So right now, I'd give Nussmeier in the passing game, as far as quarterbacks go, I'd give it about a B-. And I know that might be a little tough, but again, Garrett's got a lot of work to do. Mentally, challengingly, because word is, guess what? If you can't get this down, word is when December the 4th comes around, Underwood is coming to LSU. He's going to be at LSU December the 9th. He'll be able to practice for the bowl game. He won't be able to play, but he'll be able to practice in the bowl game, for the bowl game. All right, running back, Cade Durham. He's a freshman. He's a 4-star recruit. He has number 12 in the SEC in rushing at 551 yards. He's got swivel hips like I like a Dalton Hilliard, like a Cecil Collins. I like the way he moves quick. He can find the hole and just go quick like that. Whichever way he has to go, I like him. He's good. Josh Williams, a graduate student, 319 yards. Iffy. I think he needs to be like the 3rd or 4th running back on the team. Unfortunately, that's a small room, so he's number 2. Really, he starts some games at the number 1 running back. What the hell happened to Caleb Jackson? 155 yards this season. Jonathan, what is your assessment on Caleb Jackson? I thought last year when he was a freshman, he come out like he shot out of a cannon to the line. What the heck happened to that guy?
Yeah, not sure really, Chris. He did gain a little bit of weight, but coaches assured the media that was not the problem. He was really running hard last year if you saw him running over some people, whether it be through the SEC or towards the end of that season. But I think at the beginning of this year, they kind of try to feed him up the middle, and Caleb Jackson really needs to get his feet going, a head full of steam, if you will, before he gets to that line, because he's not a jump cut kind of player. He's just put his foot in the ground and run somebody over. So got to give him a little momentum going outside. Just didn't get in a rhythm. Like I said, did gain a little bit of weight. I think he was a little banged up there around week 3 and 4, but His downfall has been a mystery to a lot of LSU fans because he was so promising last year as a freshman. You mentioned Caden Durham, and not only is his speed impressive, but this kid is tough. He's been playing the last 3 games with broken toes as a running back. So Josh Williams, he gives it all for purple and gold. He is good at pass pro, but he's not the banger that you need in the SEC. Nope. And Caden Durham, they need to protect that young man because that is the future at the running back spot.
Right, I agree. So I'd give this running back room a C because they don't have depth there. They don't have guys coming in to help Cade Durham out. Now let's go to the wide receivers, the ex-wide receivers. Kyron Lacey, a senior, transfer, of course, came in. He has 740 yards, 7 touchdowns this season. When he transferred, he was a 3-star on the transfer list. Of course, he's from UL Lafayette and the Raging Cajuns. Chris Hilton is behind him. He's a junior at 36 yards. I give this their best, pretty much almost their best spot. I give it a B+. This grade a B+. I think Kyron Lacey and also Hilton can be good. Hilton's got timing still he's got to get down coming back from that injury. He's jumping too soon for the ball. He's jumping too late for the ball. That's what you saw Brian Kelly fussing at him, saying just let the game come to you. Let the game come to you. You'll be fine. I think wide receiver C.J. Daniels at the Z wide receiver spot. He's a graduate student, transferred. Of course, 400 yards. When he came from Liberty, he was a 4-star on that. Jelani Watkins, a freshman, he's a 4-star from Texas. So all in all, that room I give them a B+ because they've got depth there. Even though you don't hear a lot of things going from Watkins. You hear C.J. Daniels' name a lot, but not anything from Watkins. Wide receiver, he probably will redshirt, by the way. The slot wide receiver, Aaron Anderson, I love. He's a sophomore. He's going to keep getting. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's going to keep going. We've got one more year with him. He'll be back next year. Now, he can go – no, let's see. Yeah, he can go pro. That'd be his 3 years. He's been 3 years, 1 in Alabama, 2 here at LSU now. So he can go pro, but he won't. I hope that he stays with us here in Baton Rouge at LSU. He's unbelievable. I've always loved that guy, no question about that. He transferred, remember, he committed to LSU, but then decided to sign with Alabama, did 1 year there, and then transferred back from Alabama to LSU. He has 713 yards on the year. That's number 2 and 5 touchdowns. So that's pretty good. I give that section for that an A because of Aaron Anderson. I really like him a lot. How about the tight end position? Mason Taylor, Jr., 478 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was a 3-star out of Florida. I think Mason Taylor is pretty good, very good. I think he's the best possibly tight end in the country. He's going to go. We know that. He's going pro. Trey'Dez Green, listed still as a tight end. He's a freshman, but they did switch him to the running back spot, to the wide receiver spot. He is a 4-star. He's from Zachary, Louisiana. And I give this room an A, because I think that this is a very good group. Mason Taylor is always there for that, basically a good first down if Nussmeier will hit him for that. So I really like that a lot. I really give this group an A, no question about that. Now it's time for the offensive line, which has been the biggest problem. At left tackle, Will Campbell, he's listed as a junior. He's a 4-star recruit out of Monroe, and he'll go pro this year, and there's no question about that. I think he's the best of the offensive line, left tackle, and he needs to be because that's the blind side. Bo Borderline is right behind him, a redshirt sophomore, 3-star player from New Orleans. He's regressing. He's progressing as long, but again, he's on the sideline. He's watching and learning how to play this game. At left guard, Dillinger is still out with that high ankle sprain, basically, that tightrope surgery. So with Garrett Dillinger, Paul Mubinga has been there. He is a redshirt freshman, 3-star out of Georgia. That's where you're struggling at right there. That's one of the spots you're struggling at because he's right next to a freshman center. So right there at the left guard spot, you're getting a lot of problems, and Nussmeier's coming on this blind side who's getting hit. So Tyree Adams, redshirt freshman, might play there. He is playing sparingly and all over the place. He's a 4-star from St. Aug in New Orleans. He's going to be a good offensive lineman. Your center, so in that position, rather, I'll give the left guard a C-. I give the left tackles an A. I give the left guards a C-. For the center, DJ Chester, redshirt freshman, 4-star out of Georgia, he's learning. He'll get it. Right now, he's still struggling a little bit, but he's getting better as the game goes on. But he's struggling still. You can't run in the A gaps there at all. Mainly because of him, and mainly because of your left and right guard too. So hopefully everything will work out with that. He'll get better going on. Cohen Eccles, a freshman, 4-star out of Texas, he's going to be good. He's a chance and opportunity to play somewhere on that line as well. So that's your center position. I give it a C+ right now. Right guard, Miles Frazier, redshirt senior. He's a transfer. He's a 4-star out of Florida International. He's a 3-year starter, and he'll be leaving after this year. I think he might be able to come back for 1 year, maybe because of COVID. You get that 5th year. But Miles Frazier is going to, be interesting to see what he decides to do. He's doing a decent job. And that right tackle spot, Emory Jones Jr., Junior, 4-star, he's going to go to the pros, obviously. He's from Catholic High School here in Baton Rouge. And Weston Davis, a 4-star from Texas. So we got a lot of recruits that are going to have to come in. I give them an A in that category in the right tackle spot as well. So, once again, Jonathan, I want to hear from you about, and what you think about my grades. I got quarterback at a B-. What are your thoughts?
I think that, if you'd have asked me earlier in the season, I probably would have gave Nussmeier a high B average. But when teams, saw what LSU was trying to do, that intermediate passing game, that middle West Coast offense, he's having a lot of trouble stretching the field vertically. And I don't know if it's Chris Hilton and the timing or just what it is, but the pressure in his face, not being able to sell into the pocket. But LSU very much struggling to stretch that field, especially with all the speed that they have on that team. You mentioned Aaron Anderson. He's having a fantastic year. He's really saving that wide receiver room, in my opinion. Connor Lacey, way too many drops. Chris Hilton missed a bunch of time. Now you see Coach Brian Kelly yelling at him to be coachable on the sidelines because, just desperate to make plays and jumping off, not leaving his feet, not using his biggest asset, which is that speed, that track speed. So, the tight end spot, I think Mason Taylor is probably the best tight end in the country. It stinks that we haven't been able to get him the ball a little bit more, especially in that red zone. You touched on the struggles from the red zone. It does start with that quarterback, but really that offensive line has underperformed so greatly this year. They were talking about that Joe Moore Award given to the best college line in the nation. And LSU believed that they had a chance to win it, but outside of those two tackles, I don't know who you can give an A to on that line. Frazier has played okay. Delger's been hurt, but DJ Chester, and I agree with you. Coach Nick Saban really laid out the blueprint about how he wanted to build teams, but there's a reason Coach Nick Saban called it quits, he wanted to retire. It's a different landscape of this college football. I do think the transfers have been crucially beneficial to LSU. You look at Joe Burrow, you look at Jaden Daniels, you look at the roster that Brian Kelly had to fill out with the Bernard Converse on the outside. The entire secondary was transfer portal guys in his first year, and LSU went to the SEC championship. Did get embarrassed by Georgia, who's done it their way for a long time. But it's a delicate balance. I do believe Brian Kelly is going to have to go into the transfer portal more than he wanted to this upcoming offseason, even with a very talented signee class coming for 2025.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, again, it goes by numbers too, and a lot of people forget that. You can only sign 25 players per year, SEC rules. And then you got that, so then you have to add the transfer portal in. So you got only a certain amount of players you can get. You've got a very talented class coming in, like we mentioned, which will be December the 4th. We're going to find out. So it ought to be interesting. But like I said, the reason I give the left tackle and the right tackle at least A's is because of Emory Jones and Will Campbell. Now, I think they're having problems with other linemen and other players coming in. They're trying to do a lot of things. But when scouts are breaking those two players down, they're breaking down very good film. They're watching them with their feet work, and if their back goes straight up and they're not going this way. If they're going this way, that means it's good. But if your back goes straight up like that, it means you're getting beat. They're very smart, so I think those left tackle Will Campbell and the right tackle Emory Jones Jr. is going to be in the NFL. There's no doubt, and I think that Miles Frazier's got work, but he's a redshirt senior. He's probably gone, and Garrett Dillinger is still out. I think that's a problem. And then, like I said, your center is not he's a young guy. DJ Chester, I think he's going to get good, but right now he's just struggling. I give the final grade to the LSU Tigers right now, not a final grade, but this is what I give right now is a B. And it looks like that's about right as a B. They're 6th in total offense, 2nd in passing yards, 16th in rushing, 9th in points still. But the offensive line, now get this now, the offensive line hadn't done a good as job as you would want in the running game. But it might not be the offensive line. It might be the running backs not hitting the right gaps. Look you've got young guys that are playing there, and you've got the two guys that we talked about, they're not having good seasons. The only one that's having a good season is a freshman in Durham. So they may not be hitting the right holes and what have you. I wouldn't blame it all on the offensive line, and Brian Kelly mentioned that too as well. So offensive line-wise, they only give up 6 sacks this whole season until the Florida game, and they gave up 7. They got 13 now. So that's what I say with that. So you've got a lot of these radio show hosts, these podcasters are all going crazy right now, and they're so mad. They're getting upset. There's nothing to get upset about. The season, I know. Look, I'm aggravated as well. The season's over. LSU season is over. We're playing for next year already. Let's just get ready. It's over. It's done. All right, we're going to play in a little bowl game. Nobody's going to care about that. That's all right. But I'm telling you, by Kelly's 4th season, which is next season, and 5th season and above, I think LSU better be in the playoffs every single year, or I'm going to be really upset and talking bad. They got to be in the playoffs every year starting next year. It's a 12-team playoff. There's no reason why they can't be in the playoffs every single year. But these radio hosts and these podcasters are getting so crazy. I thought about the times that I covered Jim Mora. I didn't cover Nick Saban, rather, but I covered Jim Mora, and I found some clips from Mora and Saban when they talk about these media people who think they know everything. They don't know what goes behind closed doors. Watch this clip right here.
You guys really don't know when it's good or bad, when it comes right down to it.
Will you make a promise to us? Will you tell us when it's good?
And I'm promising you right now that you don't know when it's good or bad. You really don't know. Because you don't know what we're trying to do. You guys don't look at the films. You don't know what happened. You really don't know. You think you know, but you don't know. And you never will. Okay? Just for your own information. Sometimes I can tell you it won't be good, and you'll see it won't be good. Sometimes you'll think it's good, and it isn't any good. Sometimes you'll think it's bad, and it was pretty darn good. Sometimes you'll think it's bad, and it was bad. But basically, you really don't know. The only people that really know are our coaches. And that goes with run blocking, pass defense, all those things. The media, public doesn't know. You guys don't know. Not really know.
Well, I say the same thing as when you all buried us last week, all right, and all that it really doesn't matter what you think. All right, it really doesn't matter what you say. And I'm hoping that nobody on our team is playing for you. I hope they're playing for each other and their team and what they want to accomplish and not what you think. All right, because that's not certainly what I'm doing. I'm coaching and working for our players and our team to be as good as it can be. And if that's not pleasing to somebody else, it's not pleasing to somebody else. I said before, I believe in our team. I do believe in our team. And we're going to work hard to make our team better. And I hope the players respond the right way. And it's not going to be for you. The fans, yes. Because if it was up to you, we're 6 foot under already. We're dead and buried and gone. Gone.
That's true. You know, those guys don't know what's going on behind closed doors. That sweep that, we ran this weekend, the running back, that everybody went nuts over that. That might have been called a sweep. That might have been called, right through the A gap. Right through the A gap. And they decided to run a sweep because there was nothing in the A gap. The A and the B gaps were gone. So they decided to run. They're going to run around. They're going to swing around, go to the C gap. And that's what happened. That's why NFL players, you don't see a lot of end arounds. You don't see a lot of reverses. You don't see a lot of any of that because defenses are too fast. And Florida just played lights out in that ball game. That's just it. And I think so what Coach Kelly said, they had about 185 yards in rushing when you take away the loss yardage for the 7 sacks. So that's good. But pass protection, they went after LSU, and they sacked Nussmeier 7 times. He was running for his life the whole game, because it's a makeshift line right now because of injuries and young players you've got right in the middle. So right now you've got basically 3 young players right there in the middle, left guard, center, and right guard. That's not going to help you at all. You're going to struggle. That's why I would like to see Nussmeier with a quicker release. And like I said, for people getting upset that Nussmeier's not doing well right now, again, I go back to Joe Burrow's first year. Go back to Jaden Daniels' first year. It takes time. You can't just put a quarterback in there and run. But I'll say this, that Nussmeier better get it fast because Underwood is the real deal. Everyone's saying about Underwood that he can pass and he can run like Lamar Jackson, like Michael Vick, and can pass like you wouldn't believe. He is real deal. And by the way, he's fluctuated from 1 to 3 top recruit. He's now back to number 1 recruit. He's the number 1 recruit in the nation, and he's got LSU all the way. All that talk about Michigan with $10 million, no. First of all, I don't think they did come up with that. And second of all, he never made one visit to Michigan, not one visit. He went to LSU every single time. And word is he's going to be at LSU December the 9th. He's going to be able to practice with the team for the bowl game. He is in here and he's coming. So Nussmeier, you better get it straight, son. You better get in your head that you got to get first downs. Move the ball like Drew Brees did. Drew didn't have to go 50 yards down the field. Be smart about it. Move it the right way, and you'll be fine. We'll be back after this. We're going to talk playoffs. Also, we're going to talk what the biggest problem in the college football playoffs are, where I was right, where I was wrong, and also my Hot 5 picks coming up right here as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers, right after this on Pelican Sports TV.
Make a fun run in Livingston Parish now with all kinds of events for the whole family. The Livingston Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau invites you to a girls' night out on November 8th in Denham Springs. Get your tickets now and don't miss out. On Sunday, November 10th is the City of Walker Veterans Day Parade at 10 a.m. The lighting of the old City Hall in Denham Springs on November 29th. Christmas open house on November 30th. And Christmas in Denham Springs from November 29th to December 21st through historic downtown Denham Springs. Enjoy the sounds of Swamp Pop at Grand Country Junction on November 16th. And on December 21st, it's the Merry Christmas from the Grand Junction in Livingston, Louisiana. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. and shows start at 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale for $15 for adults, $10 for kids 4 through 12, and children under 3 are free. For more information, visit LivingstonTourism.com. That's LivingstonTourism.com. Livingston Parish. Make a fun run.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadia and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
All right, welcome back, everybody. College football playoff, top 25 is going to be announced tonight, which is every Tuesday. And, I'm looking at it right now, and Nick Saban, of all people, comes out and says that the problem that he has with the college football playoff top 25 is the strength of schedule. And it's absolutely true. If they don't get this right, this is horrible. I can't believe how something that is so out of play, out of just not organized at all, is as good as it is. I really can't, because it's and you're going by the human element too. I think that's all crazy. This has got to be this got to change. 12 playoffs. I'm already griping about it. 12-team playoff. Oregon Ducks belong at number 1. They're the most team. They're undefeated, and they're the team that's playing good football right now. Not great football. They're not dominant like 2019 LSU or the 2020 Alabama, or even Michigan last year. They're not playing that good, but they are winning games, and they are the number 1 team in the nation. I agree with that. And they beat Ohio State at their home, so we'll give them their due, and they probably will end up as the number one team of the nation. Ohio State, only with that one loss at Oregon. They got Michigan left. They got Indiana this week. I think they'll beat Indiana. We'll tell you more about that coming up in a moment. I think Ohio State's where they need to be. Texas, no. There's no way Texas is a third-ranked team in the nation. You're going by what they've done now. They beat Georgia, so they've won a couple of games after that. They've struggled against Arkansas. Folks, this is not the number 3 team in the nation. They don't deserve to be at that spot. And it's just absolutely crazy the way that spot is, where they got Texas. Penn State's the same way. Penn State is the exact same way. 3 and 4 are bogus. They're bogus. Indiana deserves where they're at now. We're going to see how good they are this week. Notice that Indiana's production is going down, down, down as they're getting closer to taking on Ohio State. Notre Dame, I'd give them at number 6. I'll give them at number 6. They got a tough game this weekend. We'll see how they're going to do. But I think they're number 6. Miami, too, hasn't played anybody really big. Georgia has played one of the toughest schedules in the nation, and they're at number 8, and they're 8-2. So Tennessee is at 8-2. They don't deserve to be there. Well, they think they'll be at number 9. Alabama is at number 10. They think Ole Miss will be at number 11. BYU 12. Boise State 13. So all in all, and I want Jonathan, I want to get your deal on this. Did you hear what Lane Kiffin said yesterday?
No.
When it comes to people not wanting to make the SEC championship game, and it's absolutely true. Why would you want to make the SEC championship game, especially what if you're Georgia? And you're Georgia and you got 2 losses and you finish with 2 losses on the year. You play in the SEC championship game, you get beat, that's your 3rd loss, you're out.
Right.
You're gone. Why would you? To me, I don't foresee any of the conferences getting away with the championship game anytime soon, maybe, because that's the way they make extra money, selling out the Mercedes-Benz Stadium and the TV contract they've got with ESPN. But I'm beginning to think, and I've said this a few weeks ago, I told a few of my friends, that there may be a day where we don't see a conference championship anymore. What say you?
Yeah, and especially if not all conferences are having a conference championship. Now you have the Pac-12 or the Pac-4, whatever the teams are in that conference. It's really not fair to add. Like, and he has a great point. I mean, if you have 2 losses, you don't have to play in that SEC championship game. Then what's the risk? I mean, you don't have anything to gain. If you lose, great.
Yep.
If you win, you're still in. But if you lose, you're out. And there's going to be some teams with 2 losses that don't have to go to a conference championship that want to be complaining that they're not in the playoff. And they have a very good point. The win-losses for the opponents, I believe, didn't play a big enough role. And it's really crazy, Chris. I can't remember the last time the SEC didn't have at least one undefeated team heading into the SEC championship. And this year, now it's the first year of 12-team playoff. There's so much parity. If you're asking my opinion about why all this parity is in college football, the top elite programs have always got the top elite players because they were able to provide these extra incentives, these NIL opportunities that weren't official, but they were under the table. Everybody knew what was happening, but the HBCUs, the teams at the Power 5 or the other 5 conferences couldn't compete. Well, now the top-tier programs are still getting the elite 5 stars, but the games are won and lost in the trenches. And these teams do not have the 2, 3, 4 deep at every offensive line spot like they used to. You saw Georgia struggle with their offensive line. Texas at times struggled with their offensive line. Alabama lost to Vanderbilt when they were kind of banged up. And LSU, I mean, they're struggling to not have to play true freshmen. So, yeah, I believe that the NIL deal has affected the most inside the trenches. You saw Brian Kelly not want to pay the $2.5 million for a transfer to TCU, a guy that had never played an SEC snap before. But, of course, he wanted $3 million from a team that he went and signed with. It's a new landscape. LSU, along with everybody else, is going to figure out, how to navigate this uncapped, unregulated, wild west NIL deals. So yeah, it remains to be seen how this playoff is going to work out. It's the first year of it. There was no SEC conference champions, so there wasn't the East and the West. It's all just going to that championship game. So we'll see how it goes this year. Obviously, LSU won't be a part of it, so a lot of LSU fans kind of lost some interest. But it is cool to see this brand new landscape of college football with this 12-team playoff.
And right now, when you look at it, not just the SEC, Jonathan, what team right now in the nation is the most dominant?
Right.
Oregon? I'm not sold on Oregon.
Right. According to record, it's Oregon, but I'm with you. I'm not sold on them either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sold on any team out there. I think Ohio State can get beat again. I don't think it's going to happen this week with Indiana, but there's a lot of things I'll look at here. I don't see any dominant team of the nation right now. So Hey, and it shows because of the fact that my picks and everybody's picks have been struggling. Last week I was 3-2. I'm 28-26 on the year. Here's where I was right and where I was wrong. LSU, Florida. I'm not going with my heart again, Jonathan. I'm done with that. I had LSU by 10. Florida wins it by 11.
Yep.
I was wrong. Tennessee and Georgia. Georgia finally pulled away. Tennessee led for a good part of that game, but Georgia finally pulled away, and they pulled away by 14 points. I had them winning by 7. I was correct there. Arkansas and Texas. Again, Texas not impressive at all. I had them winning by 21 against Arkansas. Ole Miss slapped them all over the field. No, Texas won by 10, so I was wrong there. The Browns and the Saints. I had the Saints by 3. The Saints win by 21. I was right. The Saints looked very good. I thought the Browns might play better. The first half was a lot, close. The second half, the Saints pulled away with a couple of good plays here and there. UAPB and Southern. I had Southern by 10. They won by 22. I was right. Again, I finished 3-2. Now it is time for the Hot 5 picks. Jonathan, always look forward to getting your word on this. Here we go. Vanderbilt at LSU. Is it my heart? No. I think LSU ends the streak. I don't think they lose their 4th game. It'd be the first time since 1999 they do it. They're going to wear the gold jerseys, by the way. Have you seen that?
Yeah, do not like those gold jerseys, Chris, at all. I'm a traditional guy, so keep the old golds for me. Unfortunately, I'm taking Vandy in this game, Chris.
Wow.
I'm taking Vandy by 3. They have a very mobile quarterback that leads the team in rushing, going to give LSU problems. Hopefully they get the ship right. Trust me, I want the Tigers to finish strong, but give me the Commodores by 3 points.
I got LSU winning by 7 because of the fact that I think that Vandy's magic is at home, and I think that's where they won most of their games. But I notice now they're not playing as well as they were.
Yeah.
They're coming with the exact same record as LSU. I got LSU by 7. Indiana and Ohio State, undefeated Hoosiers, had never been this good before in the history of their program. Ohio State, it's at Ohio State. If it's at Indiana, maybe, but it's at Ohio State. I got the Buckeyes by 7.
Yeah, Chris, I picked LSU to win the last 3 weeks. They lost all 3 of those games, so I'm sticking with the reverse psychology. I'm taking Ohio State, hoping Indiana wins because they've had a magical year. Not a huge fan of Coach Ryan Day. You know, he's a great coach, but I'm just not a huge fan. So give me Ohio State even though I'm pulling for Indiana to win.
Undefeated Army will take on Notre Dame. One-loss Notre Dame team. It's going to be at Notre Dame. Army looks very good. I've got Notre Dame by 10 points in this game.
Keeping the tradition alive, really hoping Army wins, so I'm going to go ahead
too.
and pick Notre Dame by 3, Chris.
Yeah, me too. I'd love Army to win this game as well. Alabama is going to Oklahoma for the first time ever. I got Alabama by 10. Alabama's playing good right now, and also DeBoer is going to be one of the things that first-year coaches at Alabama doesn't do, a 9-win season, and so he's looking very good. I got them winning over 10 by the Sooners.
Yeah, give me Alabama, the Roll Tide. Jalen Milroe, too explosive for the Sooners. I'll take Alabama by 2 scores. Give it a 14-point game.
And Ole Miss, Florida played a good game last week. Not this week. I think Ole Miss beats them by 10 points in Gainesville.
Yeah, it was Florida's Super Bowl, knocking off LSU's chances. Of course, team decimated with injuries, but fighting very hard. I think Ole Miss, too much firepower on offense. Give me the Rebels by 10.
All right, so that's going to do it for us this week of Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers. We'll be back again next week, our Thanksgiving week. We've got lots to talk about, LSU's final game, Southern's final game, and a whole lot more. The Saints getting ready to play the Rams. That's all next week as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV on Cox Cable. Have a great one, everyone.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson heads to the block.